Hey everyone, a number of people have asked about how to upload images to Canvas on discussions, and this is a common problem, and there's a couple of solutions. One of the easiest ways to solve this is just the quick and dirty way. Let's say I go to ogbog.net. I'll just grab the first image I can find. That's probably... Oh, my blog isn't updating. That's not good. We'll go with this one. So I open this image in a new tab. There it is. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it. And I'm an adult. I can click on a link. So if you do that, somehow I will figure out that you had an image on there. In fact, oftentimes it might be preferable because sometimes when you embed images, there's compression issues. Another way that you can do this, however, is using the forum buttons. Pardon me. I have things on my Bamboo Touch. So another way you might be able to do this is instead of all of this junk, what if I copied that image and here on Canvas where I'm creating this discussion, I click on this button that says embed image. When I do that, I get a couple of options, and the first one is URL. So if I paste in that URL, notice that although it ends with this question mark blah blah blah, there is probably a .jpeg or .png in there. So if I paste this in, we can see if it figures it out, and yep, it did. And notice that this image is now posted right there in the forum. Let's add a little text. This is not antiquity related. So this is another one way that you can do this, and the problem is that this might work if, say, you search, I don't know, Hellenistic Greece. You find a blah blah blah. You look through some resources, you find some good art, like perhaps the Bernini font. Barbernini? Barbernina? There it is. Classic Greek sculpture of a naked man. Open image in the new tab. It ends in JPEG, so we can copy that and we paste it. That works if you're finding images online. How do you get your own images up there? What if you took pictures at a museum? What if it's a picture of your drawing? Well, then you have a couple of other options. One is actually use some other media platform. So, for instance, if you're on Twitter, you can go into Twitter. You can add a tweet, or you attach a photo or video. Go to find your image. I almost certainly have something. There we are. I can upload my crazy drunk Santa. And once I post this, this is now on the internet somewhere, and that means I can right click and open this in a different tab. So now this is hosted somewhere on Twitter's servers or something. But the point is that it exists on the internet, and if we have this address where it exists, that means I can use it. So this is just one example of how you can get content onto your stuff. Don't necessarily use something like Facebook or even Twitter if you have a private account, because chances are you won't be able to access that unless you're logged in. And if you paste the URL where it's located, it's not going to show anything here. Another way that you can do this is through a blog. So if you have a WordPress blog, you can do that. But probably the easiest is Imgur. So if you have these images on your phone, notice that when it says sign in, there's actually a number of options that you probably already are using somewhere in your life. You probably have Facebook, Twitter, or Google+, which is just any Gmail account is going to have that. If you use Google Docs or Google Drive, you're going to have one of these. So for instance, I could just log in with my Google Docs, or rather my Gmail account. And now I can add images to Imager, such as Bollywood's 22 panels that always work. Now when I click on this, I can get the direct link, and there it is. So now that would be something that I could very easily post in here. Now, there is actually one other way to do it, and it's very convoluted, which is why I did it last. I think you're probably more likely to be existing on the internet and using resources that are available on the internet than being familiar with Canvas. So Canvas is probably not your first bet, but there is a way to do it. You'll notice when you click on Canvas, there's two folders called Course Files, My Files, and you can find something like this. Now, how did I get this in here? Well, you'll notice here on the side panel on Canvas, there is a Files section. If you click on the Files section, this is a place where you can upload other things. You can actually create a folder called Art, I don't know, Oscar Baechler Art Appreciation Stuff. And this is a folder where now I can click into it and upload some of those images, such as, Andrew Loomis. He's a great guy. So now this image exists on Canvas. And that means that when we go back to discussions, or where we want to post this stuff, discussion week 1, antiquity. Now when I click upload, blah, 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 one of the things I can do is go to the Canvas section. That folder is probably going to exist somewhere, hopefully. My goodness, I hope. And there it is. So now if I click this, it can be uploaded as well. There's one other option that is probably something that you're pondering for the museum trips, because with the museum trips, we're not doing discussions. It's more for my benefit that I check in that you've done this and had a personal experience where you enjoyed the museum. So how do you upload your drawings from that and your files at the same time? Well, one thing you can do is if you are using Google Docs, or if you're using Microsoft Word. Another option if you don't want to pay for Microsoft Office is OpenOffice or LibreOffice. There's a couple options, and LibreOffice is the one I prefer. But this is a free open source suite of just word processing, Excel spreadsheet type things. It has a PowerPoint copy too, but I mostly use Google Docs for ease of use now. So if I say my essay, this trip sucked, I hate museums, Ferris Bueller should have gone to school and paid attention instead of living life. Copy and paste this until it's 300 words, right? So there's your essay portion. But how do you get images in here? Well, that's pretty easy. You can actually go Insert, Image, and hey, look, very similar options. We can enter a URL like we did over here. And another thing you can do is if you have this image on your computer, so you have it on your phone, you download it either by USB cord or by emailing it to yourself and saving it just to your desktop or something. I don't care what your file system is. Then you can go Insert Image, Upload, choose an image to upload, and then this is going to, in the same way that Imager created an existence of that somewhere, There we are. Aranda Jimenez, master painter. So this is in the same way that that created a quasi link on uh, Imgur. This creates a link inside of this Google Doc, but it's actually permanent inside of this document. If you go back to your docs, this is going to have a file size now. And once you have that, you can actually just do a couple things. First off, you can be super lazy in turning this essay in. Let's consider. Uh, Imagine I have over here selfie. So this essay would have the 300 words, some images that I drew, one definitely, and a selfie to prove that I went there. If you were there and I was there, I'm not going to worry about it. I knew you were there. This has all the requirements for the essay. I could just click share, name this Baechler Art Appreciation or Art 121. No, that's not it. Yeah, Art Appreciation Museum 1 and save that. So that's the name of this now, right? And you can either enter my email address, oscar.baechler at lwtech.edu, or you can actually get a shareable link. If I click share up here and I hit click get shareable link, this gives me a link to this essay. And so now when you go to Canvas and you try to turn in your assignments, I might have to modify this in real time on the video to make sure that you can do this. Some of the upload types that are allowed include website URL, text entry, or a file upload. So for text entry, you could actually click. I don't know if there's a way for me to simulate it being the person who turns it in. But for text entry, you could actually enter in that shareable link. And so if you send me this link, it'll take me to this Google Doc. I read your words. I see your pictures. I give you 100%. If you don't feel comfortable with that, you can also go File, Download as a docx, a .pdf, probably not a .text because I don't think you can save images in that. If you are in LibreOffice, you can just save it in that format there. And then it's a file upload on here when it says enter your assignment. So hopefully this gives you some ideas of how you can get around the image block aspect of the internet. Thank you, and I hope you guys get your assignments in. Pardon my voice.